Welcome back, everybody. I just wanted to go over a little project that I just did. I built a new hive stand for individual hives, and the whole purpose of doing this was to utilize as much of a 2x4 8-footer as possible, so there's basically no scrap, no nothing. One 8-foot 2x4 and one 8-foot treated 2x4 for the legs, and that's it. Bolts, nuts, washers, and some deck screws. 2.5-inch deck screws seem to work just fine. And I just wanted to point it out again. I wanted to have it functional, but I wanted to use as little material as possible. I bought enough for 3 hive stands, and total cost for the entire project was $43 for 3 hive stands. Now you can go buy them online for $84 a piece if you want, but these seem to do just fine. Now just wanted to start it off just by showing you another reason why I did what I did. I also wanted to have it so that when I am taking out frames, I can have a frame holder on the side here, on either side actually, whichever side I'm working on, and it will hold, oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 frames each, I would guess. Three frames, 4 at a very, very maximum, I would guess. So that should be plenty for when you're working on your hive. And just want to go over how I ended up building this. Now, what I wanted to do is again utilize a complete 8-foot stud with no scrap whatsoever, and also adhere to the dimensions pretty much of a Langstroth hive. So what I ended up doing was essentially figuring the width of the hive to be 16 inches and the depth to be about 20 inches or so, not including your bottom board. That was my undertaking. So with 16 inches, I figured, we have 96 inches to play with. So I kind of did a little math, and I figured if we had roughly 7 inches of trim on each end, we could get it done. Now if you have 16, 7, and 7, 16, 7, and 7, that's 30 inches each, so that's 60, and then we have 18 inches in between for these boards, and that'll give us actually 3 inches on either side, which would bring us up to 21 inches, which actually fits out perfect. Hey buddy. Now my other aspect was I wanted the legs to be situated so that they actually kind of pinched or held in the hive a little bit, so you just settle it in, and it ain't gonna go either way. Another thing that I did, you're gonna have just a little bit of extra for the legs. I did 18.5-inch legs on the back and 18 inches on the front because I wanted to pitch forward a little bit so rain doesn't travel down the bottom board. I wanted to pitch out, so I had the legs in the back just a 1/2 inch higher. I left an inch rise on each end so that the hive would actually fit. This is actually being held together by paint, I think, right now. The bottom board is really not attached. So this fits in there fairly snugly. There's a little bit of a gap, no big deal. For your bottom board, you can throw your hive on there. And then also, if you're one of those that straps your hive down, well, you can do that too, and just strap it right around other supports on the bottom. And again, you know, it seems pretty sturdy, seems to do what it does. And if you want, I'll take you over and we'll build one. I've got 2 more to build, but again, $43 for 3 of them. So roughly 14 bucks a piece, I would guess, is the end result. You'll need, this is for, well, just for one. You need one 8 foot, make sure it's 8 foot, not 92 and 5/8. It has to be 96 inches. Just plain 2x4. Now you can paint these if you want. This isn't treated. It's just a hive, so it's no big deal to me. If it gets weathered in 10, 15 years, whatever, I'll just replace it. But I wanted the feet to be treated because it's in contact with the ground. Now they don't make ground treated 2x4s. They do make 4x4s, which you can use if you want. It's just more expensive. But anyways, you're going to need one 2x4 8-footer. You're going to need one treated 2x4 8-footer, and you're going to need 2, 4, 6, 8 carriage bolts. You're going through 3 inches of wood, so you want them to be about 3.5 inches at a minimum. Nuts and bolts. Now these are 1/4 inch carriage bolts with the washers and the nuts. And also you're going to pick yourself up a package of deck screws. Now deck screws come and they come, these were 2.5, I got them 2.5 inches, 3 inches. The screws tend to poke out just a little bit. That's a little too long. So 2.5 seems to do just fine. They're coated, treated, so they're good for exterior use. They come prepackaged with a hex head. It's a Torx head is what it's called, to screw it in so that it adapts to your your whatever you're using, driver or whatever, your drill. You're going to need some sort of a driver or a drill, a chop saw or a Skil Saw, a measuring tape, a framing square, and a pencil. And that's pretty much it. You also might need a hammer. Helps to tap these anchor bolts or these carriage bolts in and get them tightened down. But that's pretty much it. That's it in a nutshell. So now, if you wanted to, you could probably build these for multiple hives. I just, to be different, because I like to be different, I have my hives in different locations in my yard. I have one about 40 yards away over there, and I have one about 40 yards away in that direction. So that's my 3 hives. So that's why I wanted 3 in 3 separate stands. What else was I going to say? Yeah, that's it. So let's get to building. About the height of the stand. Now you can build this because there is scrap, so you can build this higher if you want. I just measured my knee, and it was about 18 inches. That's what I figured for the height that I wanted my hive to stick up. I'm shorter, so that seemed to work. If you're a little taller, you know, as these things stack up, they're going to get up to about here, I would imagine. That's as high as I really want to lift anything off. Now when it comes to taking off a super, I'm going to do it frame by frame by frame and then take the box off, so it's not that big a deal. But that's where I came up, like I said, with my height for my box. If you want to build it a little higher, there is some scrap left over. There's probably 18 inches, I think, left over, so that you'll have scrap. So you can add a couple more inches, 3 more inches, maybe to each leg, 4 more inches, or whatever. You want to get it a little higher. If you want to get it a little lower, you can certainly do that. Some people only like them a foot off the ground, and that's it. The legs seem to work. If I have an ant problem, I can maybe put some ant stuff around the legs a little bit easier than I can around masonry blocks, which I currently have my hive sitting on. So that's it. All right, let's get to building a new box. Okay, So we've got our 2x4 set up on our chop saw here. First thing we're going to do is take a measurement here, and just so we can make them all the same. Now these each are 30 inches, so we're going to cut 2 boards that are 30 inches. You don't have to square the ends because this is just a beehive. It's no big deal. So we're going to cut 2 boards 30 inches. Again, you need a speed square or a framing square. One of the two is helpful to do this. Look at that! I got a bee following me around here. I just brought a new nuke home last night, and I think they're a little lost. They're trying to find their way around. I've had a few scouts scouting around to see what the heck is what. Well, actually, just make this a little easier on myself here. What's left is essentially a 36-inch piece, thereabouts. It's a little less, but so what we're going to do is we're going to look, and it looks like because each cut that I made, you take off an 1/8 of an inch because of the size of the blades. So we kind of lost 1/4 of an inch, so we're basically at 35 3/4. So we're going to split the difference and say 17 7/8 roughly for each board here. Want to make sure. And then what I'm going to do with that is I'm actually going to split that line. I'm not going to cut it one side or the other. I'm going to cut it right down the middle of that line, so that each side is almost perfect. Like I said, there's very little scrap here. And it's okay if if one side is just a little longer than the other. This one is just a shade longer than the other one. So I'm going to just shave it out just a hair. So now we've got our frame essentially cut. No scrap, no nothing, just like I kind of said. So what we're going to do is lay this out on the table. And then we're going to take our tape measure and we're going to take a look at how we did the last one. Now this one, because we want these legs to be on the outside, we're going to come in and go, 6 13/16 from each side, from each end. We're going to make a mark. All right, so it's 6 13/16 on each side. twice, cut once. That's what they say. All right. Now that we've got those lines, I'm going to just make some lines to make it easier on myself. Alright. Now this is your outside line, so you want to make sure that you line up your studs on the inside. So I just write a little X on the inside, so that way I know which side of that line that I want to put this 2x4. Alright? Okay. So we'll just line these up. Just like so. Alright. That's all there is to it. Now we're going to take our deck screws and do a little work here. And again, like I said, this, I don't know if you can see this, but these packages come with that Torx head already in it. And so you can just slide it into your driver or your screw gun or whatever and do what you got to do. So that's it. And they're nice because it doesn't strip out near as easy as they used to. So you want to line that line up with the edge of the board here. Make sure it's flush on top. And drive it home. Alright. Now you'll also want to make sure, because these boards twist a little bit, you want to make sure that that the line lines up. Alright. Alright, now we'll do the same thing on the other side. And then again, just making sure that these are plumb. Oop. Oh well. Alright. So that's that one. Slide this down a little bit. And we'll get the next one. This board twisted a little bit on me. Again, I'm just flushing it up so that we got plumb to that line. Alright, now we'll do the same thing on the other side. Looks good. That's it. Now we got our frame done. Now only thing we have to do is cut the legs and install them. So we'll grab an 8-foot treated 2x4 for that, and cut that. And like I said, I did 2 at 18.5, 2 at 18. So that one's 18.5. That one's 18. So you can see it's pitching this way a little bit. So that's what I want. This is my front, that's my back. I want it to pitch so that the water runs out of my bottom board. Now, as you saw in that hive, it's actually got a screen on it, so it really doesn't matter. But if you had a solid bottom board, it would matter. Plus, it just never hurts to pitch it a little bit. So, again, we're just going to measure out 18.5. We'll start with that measurement. Now these are just beehives. This doesn't always have to be perfect. Right on here, 18.5, just so we know and you can remember. Now right on this one, 18.5, so we can remember. The treating's a lot heavier. It's a lot harder to work with. It's a lot harder to drill a hole through. So, you know, working with it can be a little bit of a struggle. Okay. Now these two boards are going to be 18. Again, like I said, I got the front boards. The front's a little lower than the back, so these will be 18. And when you cut a line, always make sure that wherever the piece that you're going to keep, that your blade is to the outside of that line. So you want to line it up with the inside of that tooth. So that's what you always do. So that way you're not short. Like I said, you can tell we're going to have a little extra here. So if you want these a little longer, you've got some play. You know, you can, if you're going to have, let's see how much actually we're going to have left over here, roughly 23.25 inches or something like that. Yeah, so if you wanted another, you can't go 6 inches, but if you wanted to go another 5 inches on each leg higher, you can do that. So 5 times 4 is 20 inches, so you'll be fine. Now comes the little difficult part. Well, actually, let's do this first. So we've got these two at 18s. So we're going to measure 1 inch in. Because we want 1 inch sticking up back here, from here to here, about an inch. You can go at a half an inch, it's up to you. Whatever you want. Just enough to seat your hive in. So I'm just going to make a, oh, broke my pencil. So, okay. I have no knife out here either. Can't remember where I put it. Be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure where my my battery went dead, but it went dead, and we're working on the legs now. So again, I've measured an inch down on the legs. These are the 18 inchers. And I'm just making a mark. It's the problem with filming yourself. You don't know when the battery runs out, so you end up talking to yourself more than anything. Okay, I got those two done. Now we'll work on the, now these are the 18s, these are the 18 and a halves, these are the back legs. And we'll just make a little mark here. 1 inch. Probably the most difficult aspect of it, because holding your legs to your frame is hard without a helper or a clamp of some sort, and even the clamp gets in the way. So, and then because we are we've got a gap here of 1 inch. We can't exactly just lay it down and stick it on, so it makes life just a little difficult. So, okay. This is our top. We are going to take, now remember that these go on the outside edge. We're going to look for our lines. And clamp it off as best we can. These can be a real pain, like I said, a real pain, because the clamp actually gets in the way when you start drilling, so do your best. Okay, we got that. Now you can just eyeball this if you want. The last time I actually drew some lines, kind of forgot those this time, but you can take and go 1 3/4 inches on the back here, measure that, and then just draw yourself it's basically a
the grain on a treated piece of wood, it doesn't always mark. So okay, those are done. Anyways, this one I'm going to eyeball, and then we've got a 1/4 inch drill bit. Mine's a little dull. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball where I want this first bolt to go. Probably should have had a carriage bolt ready. These are the carriage bolts we're using right here. These are 3.5 inch carriage bolts, because you got to go through 1.5 inch, and you want to have it 1/2 inch to bite. So you want a washer and a nut. And this is what the hammer is for, to help you get started with this, because it's a little bit of a tight fit. All right. Well, my drill bit is just a shade too short. And it's kind of splitting out the end here. I want to get one in place. And what I'm going to do here actually is take this out just a shade. Well, if I can. So it's a little bit longer for the next one. Alright. Now I can take this clamp off, because it's kind of in the way of drilling the second hole. And my neighbor is mowing his lawn, which I apologize for, but people gotta do what they gotta do. It. All right. Spin this around. Washer and a nut. And for these you'll need a 7/16 inch either box end wrench, or you can use a ratchet. Ratchet seems to work pretty good. Cinch them down really good. And that's it. So you don't have to watch me install all 4 of these legs, but I just wanted to show you how I built my hive stand, and you know, they work. So good luck, happy beekeeping.